and welcome back to the new year. My name is Kate Toon and I'm going live today to talk about how your business should behave in a crisis. So obviously you'll be well aware by now that Australia is suffering one of the worst bushfires in its history. When I just checked on Wikipedia, 6.3 million hectares of land have been burned, over 2,500 buildings destroyed, 25 people killed, and according to some reports, over 500 million creatures dead. So it's a terrible time, and if you're anything like me, you've spent the last week or so, or maybe longer, just digesting all the stories, feeling pretty terrible, feeling helpless, feeling sad, feeling angry, and a bit lost. And if you're also somebody that runs their own business, you may also feel completely stymied, completely frozen, and not knowing what to do, what next step to take. Because traditionally, January for many of us is our kickstart. Yeah, we've taken some time off over Christmas and we come back in January ready to get excited about our business again, to launch, to introduce new products, to tell about new services. But when something so terrible is going on in the world, it can all seem a little bit petty, a little bit unimportant, and also a little bit insensitive to even be daring to speak about your business online. And I think as well, if you have been online and seeing any kind of debate that's been going on, there's a lot of judgment going on. There's a lot of anger and arguments and outrage, a lot of negativity, a lot of nastiness, and that puts the fear of God into us, because we're like, oh, I don't want to put something out and have the whole internet turn on me, you know, like that is not a good place to be. No one needs to go through that. And so that can then be another reason why you don't want to do anything at the risk of offending someone. Because caveat before I do this video, I would say that 99.9% of people are good, their intentions are good, they're trying to do the right thing. But it is so easy to accidentally make a faux pas in a situation like this, to put up a perfectly innocent post with, you know, just one word that triggers people to have a certain reaction. I had this happen to me a couple of times this week. A couple of posts I posted were quite strident, and I'll talk about that. But another post I put up the week before, I used one word which triggered somebody to have a really negative reaction to me. It wasn't used in the context that was meant in that way, but they took it that way, and that can be very hard. We can't, you know, I'm not somebody that believes we should stop being out there because whatever we say could offend someone, but also we don't want to, you know, just go out there and piss people off. That's not what we want to do with a business, and it could obviously have a hugely negative effect. And, you know, we've seen how big business can sometimes really poorly handle crisis situations, and we as small businesses, we don't want to do that either. So I've been asked a lot of questions over the last few weeks in my groups and in my communities. What do we say online? Is it okay to be marketing online at the moment? How do we fundraise for charity in an ethical way? Is it okay to discuss politics? Can I just avoid this whole thing and not be on social? So I wanted to go through a few of those thoughts today, and I have written this up as a blog post, which I'll share. So if you miss any of the tips, you can go and get them later. So what should we be saying online? I think it's important as a business and a brand to acknowledge what's going on, you know, to not just like pretend that this isn't happening and just blindly keep on publishing your scheduled post. Acknowledge what's going on. If you haven't already, possibly a simple post stating, you know, how you feel about the crisis, and then some options for donating. Yeah. I do not think that we as business owners or humans need to reshare every news post and provide updates on everything that's happening. There are groups and news outlets that will do that for us. So, you know, we do not need to become somebody that's, giving alerts on the bushfire situation. We can just do a simple post saying how upset we feel and offering people the chance to donate. And you may think, look, everyone's already done that post to donate. Everyone knows how to donate. But I was quite surprised that when I posted on my personal page with some links, a lot of my friends and followers in the UK and the US and Europe were really grateful for that, because they don't know the name. They've never heard of RFS or Wires or any of our charities. So they were really grateful to get those links. So don't think that, you know, you are not contributing by simply just sharing the links. Someone might see that, that might spark a reaction, and that's a way of helping. The other thing I would say is, in any crisis situation, there's always an opportunity to look for the good, to look for the good stories, and the stories of like human spirit and bravery. And if you want to share a few of those on your social media, I think that's a good thing to do as well, because, even in the darkest time, we need some hope and some positivity to just keep us going. So I think that's something you can do. Can you share light-hearted stuff? So can you be sharing memes and funny videos? I don't know. Like, a couple of people, including the lovely Rose Taylor, posted on my wall. She is in the middle of the disaster, fire all around her, bags packed. And she's like, you know what? If I wasn't in this situation, I just want everyone else to be having a good time and living their life. Like, I don't want everyone else to be kind of suffering on my behalf, because I'll be sure that when this is over, I'm going to be enjoying the sunshine and living my life. So, I think that if I was going through this, seeing a light-hearted meme, I wouldn't necessarily think the person was being insensitive. I think it would cheer me up, but approach with extreme caution, because it's a touchy time. People are, not feeling great, and it might get a bad reaction. So I'm not sure about the light-hearted stuff. I might hold off on that. Should I try and raise money with my business? So I've seen in groups people being torn to shreds for trying to raise money for themselves. But I think, of course, you should do whatever you can. After you've made your personal donation, and if you can think of other clever ways to drive money, do it. But of course, you don't want to be seen as benefiting from, earning money for the fires. That's the difficult thing. It's a delicate balance. So if you have an idea of how you could raise money, perhaps run it by a few very honest friends and get some opinions. Perhaps don't post it in a huge group on Facebook and expect everyone to pat you on the back. People are going to have different opinions. People aren't going to like your idea, and they're going to say that. If you've asked for people's opinions and they give them to you, don't get defensive and start fighting your corner. Be gracious. Yeah, not all ideas are good ideas. They might seem good in the moment, but then when you put them out there, someone goes, well, have you thought about this? You need to take that feedback on board. So a couple of the fundraising ideas that I've seen people doing. The first one is setting up your own fundraising campaign. Of course, Facebook makes it super easy to set up a little campaign. Every post I publish it and I use the word donate, it prompts me to add a donate button, and I could start my own little campaign. And of course, we could all do that. And that's a great thing to do, especially if you have a lot of followers and a lot of loyal fans. Perhaps people will, want to be part of your efforts to raise money for the bushfire. But of course, and Celeste Barber was obviously one of the first people to do this. So she did that, I think on January 3rd, she posted, and obviously her campaign is going amazingly, and it's because she's got such a huge social media following and is just such an awesome person. It's now being picked up all over the world, and that's amazing. So possibly I would suggest, rather than setting up your own fundraising campaign, just share one that's already out there. Share Celeste, or share direct links to the different charities, and don't make you the conduit. Just let people donate direct. I just feel that possibly some people are setting up fundraising campaigns, and it's becoming a little bit about them and their brand. This is the blah, blah, blah campaign. This is the blah, blah, blah campaign. It doesn't matter. Remember, the goal is to raise awareness of the crisis, not your brand, and to raise money, not to raise your engagement. So if you can evaluate your idea against those criteria and it still comes up good, go for it. What's the best way for a business to drive donations? So again, I've seen lots of different people sharing different ways to raise money. And I want to caveat this again, that I know that the intentions are good, but sometimes the best intentions do not come across that way. So here are a few ones that I've seen. Making a business donation. Yes, absolutely. Do it. Do it now. Remember, it's tax deductible, so possibly give a bit more than you usually would, because you're going to get some tax kickback from that. So maybe give the tax kickback as well as your donation. Do it, and no question about that. Make a business donation straight away. 10% of your profits. I don't like this one. So, hey, you're going to say, for the next month, anybody who buys my blah, I'm going to give 10% of my profits to the fundraising efforts. Now, I don't like this one, because basically that means you're keeping 90% of the profits for yourself. And while, of course, you would have maybe sold these things anyway, and people might say, well, look, anything's better than nothing, it does just feel a little bit like your business is benefiting from the crisis. So 10%, nah. 100%, yeah, I think that's perfectly fine. 100% of profits, that's great. You know, so anything you sell in January, 100% of the profits go, fantastic. That's a great thing to do. You know, some people have said, you know, give all of it, give everything, but obviously you need to cover your own costs. You're not trying to make ourselves poverty stricken by doing this. So I think 100% of the profits is perfectly fine option. Others may disagree. I think it's fine, because I don't think people are stupid. I don't think people are going to buy stuff they wouldn't usually have bought. And I don't think people are going to, what it allows you to do and how to help is, you know, I've already donated, and I was going to go now and buy a frying pan because I needed a frying pan anyway. And if I can choose to buy it from a business that's going to give 100% of the profit to the Royal Fire Service, or another business that isn't, I'm still going to buy the frying pan. But you're allowing me to donate again and feel good again and help more, as well as my donation. So it's not instead of, it's as well as. The next one is donation instead of payment. So this is where you offer your services. You know, I can see lots of people here. I can see, you know, Amy, who's a social media person, Sarah, who's a copywriter. You say, hey, look, I'm going to give away 5 hours of copywriting, and you can, and instead of paying me, you can make a donation and you get this service from me. So that's the option I chose. I said that I would do some little 10-minute tune reviews in my Facebook group. And instead of paying me for them, you could make a donation to a charity. Now, if you're going to do it this way, I highly recommend that you do not have the money pass through you. So instead you say donate and send me the receipt. Yeah, because if you have the donation go through you, there's always going to be that little element of doubt of, did they make the donation? How many orders did they get? How much money did they give? So you have to be really transparent about that. You know, you have to be showing screen grabs of how many sales you made, and then a screen grab of the receipt for your donation to the charity. So I just think it's easier if you are not part of that process. They make the donation direct to the Red Cross or to Wires or to wherever, send you the receipt, and then you offer them your service in exchange. Now, even though I thought that was a rational way of doing it and a non-promotional way of doing it, I got negative feedback, people saying I was using the crisis to benefit myself. And of course, people are still going to see my name and my business. So yeah, there is an element of that. But I felt my intentions were good. I felt good with it. So I went ahead with that. And, you know, I've had several people take part, and I'll be doing the live shortly. The next one I think is exchange donations, and these are the ones I really don't like. So this is I'll donate if you. I'll donate $1 for every like on my Facebook page. Follow me on Instagram and I'll donate. It just really smacks of using the crisis to build your engagement. It's just tacky, I think. And again, I know that people who put this out there did it from a good place, but it just didn't feel right. So I don't know what you think of that one, but I'm not happy with that one. Next point. So there's lots of different options there. The other one that I want to quickly talk about is, should I make something to then sell and give my profits to the thing? So, you know, maybe you've got a really cute koala t-shirt design and you want to sell t-shirts. Again, some people I've seen in groups go, don't do this. You know, you're just contributing to the stuff that's out there in the world and contributing to the problem. Like, I don't know. Again, if I've already donated to as much money as I can afford, and then, you know, I see a t-shirt that I could buy that maybe for someone, and, you know, some portion of it goes to charity. I don't know, if it helps a little bit, I don't see that we should be ripping these people up and criticizing them too much. You know, like, they're trying to help. And as I said, as long as the kind of self-promotion and self-back-patting isn't too much, where's the harm, eh? Where's the harm? Now, the next thing, again, is an icky one. And, you know, I'm British, and British people don't like talking about money. So I'm interested in your opinion on this one. Should I publicize my donations? So I've seen a few brands sharing whole lists of what they've done. We've donated XXX to Charity One. We went to the fire station and did water. We've sponsored 6 koalas. We've done this. Big long list of what they've done. Now, I can see why this feels like a good thing to do. You want to show that you do care and that you have helped. Personally, again, I kind of feel you should keep it to yourself. You know, lots of us donate all year round to charities. We have direct debits. We give X% of our income. And, you know, while it's nice as a footnote on our About page, I'm not sure if it's something that we overly promote on social media. But it's a tricky one. It's a controversial one because, of course, charities rely heavily on sponsorship, and the big brands that sponsor them know that there's some kind of kickback from that. And there's nothing wrong with wanting to letting people know that you've helped that it just feels a bit ick to me to kind of list out how much money you've given and go, oh, I've given this and I've given that. It just feels a bit grandstandy. So again, if it doesn't feel like that to you, good. It just feels a bit back patty to me. Give it silent giving. It's a beautiful thing. Next big one, should I be marketing during a crisis? Of course, in the thick of a crisis, it can feel entirely wrong to try and sell your products and services. I was working at Ogilvy when the Twin Towers disaster happened. And of course, you know, if all these major brands had huge things going on and huge campaigns launching and TVCs and radio ads, and everything kind of had to be put on hold. Everything had to be evaluated because it was such a difficult time. So of course, if you can hold off, do, you know, like if you don't have to sell anything this month, don't sell it. Take a break, you know, do something else. Don't post your socials. But most of us can't do that. Most of us are running a business to earn money, to pay our mortgage, to buy food, to support our children. Some of us employ other people. We need money to employ them. You know, earning more money helps us live our lives, like, you know, and donate more. So most of us don't have the luxury of being able to not sell stuff. And I don't think anybody in their right mind who's going through the crisis would expect you to stop earning money because they are in a crisis. I don't think anyone would feel like that. They'd be like, you live your life. Well, I certainly know that I wouldn't feel like that. Like, how dare this person be trying to sell their socks online when I am going through a crisis right now? Because you've got to also remember, there are crises happening all over the world all the time. You know, you may not be directly affected by them, but for example, my husband is Tunisian, and there have been lots of ups and downs in Tunisia that we don't even get publicized in the news here. There's always something terrible happening. So I don't think that we can stop every single time something terrible happens, unless we have the luxury of not needing to earn money. So I do think it's fine to continue to market. And I think that anybody who questions you in that, that's their issue, not necessarily yours. But of course, be careful. Look at what you've scheduled to post. Look for any trigger words. I saw someone with an ad that obviously had been scheduled, and it said that their product was selling like wildfire, which is just obviously a terrible use of words, and they didn't think it through. Look at trigger images that could perhaps trigger people as well. It's very difficult to know, though, these days what is and isn't going to trigger people. Someone out there is just waiting to be offended. So, you know, take some of it with a pinch of salt. You know, you promoting the fact that you've launched a new copywriting service, or, you know, there's a new wine coming out. If someone gets offended by that, I'm not sure there's a huge amount you can do. Be sensitive to the situation. Don't bombard people, but don't feel guilty about having to make a living. It's okay. Next one I have is, should I be talking about politics? So, you know, again, this is a personal choice every day in your business of how much of your personal values and opinion you want to put out there in your business. So I shared a meme by Bette Midler in one of my group, and the reaction was pretty severe. People were pretty angry with me because it criticized Scott Morrison. Now, I am totally happy to announce here and now, I am not a fan of Scott Morrison or the Liberal Party. You know, not a fan of a lot of politicians, but I don't think his behavior's been great. I think he's been getting bad advice. Shouldn't be, of course, vilified. It's not just him, but I'm happy to say that. And if you don't like me because of that, and if you want to unfollow me because of my political views, bye-bye. I don't care. Also, I believe in climate change, and I believe this is the perfect time to be talking about it. I don't think we should wait until it's all blown over, because it's not going to blow over for months and months, and it's never going to go away. So I'm going to talk about climate change. I think it's fine. I'm going to talk about politics, but I'm prepared to take the consequences. I know that I will offend some people. People won't like me anymore. People will have opposing views, and they will take that opportunity to not like my brand. But my brand is a personal brand, and I stand by my brand values. So if you're prepared, if you want to talk about politics or even environmental stuff or anything, you know, like being a vegetarian or not liking this or not liking that, it's fine, as long as you're prepared to take the consequences. You know, as I say in my book, and I say all the time, you know, some people aren't going to like you, and that's okay. So you just have to be comfortable with that. Someone else said, look, isn't it just best to completely stay out of the whole thing, to just go offline and not get involved? And again, yes, if you can, quietly donate, perhaps share some donation links, and then switch off. You don't need to read every post. You don't need to engage in everything. You know, maybe you can't help the situation in blah, blah. You can't physically get there and do something practical. Do what you can and then switch off. Think about your mental health. Protect yourself, because it is upsetting to constantly see stories like this when you can't help. If you can help, it's different, you know? So again, it's very easy to become overwhelmed and super emotional in a situation like this. I'm probably one of the most emotional humans I know. And I had to guard myself. I had to switch off for a while because there was nothing I could do and it was just eating me alive. So I think that's fine as well. So look, the final word I think is that running a business is hard, even in the best of times, you know. People get offended, posts that you didn't think were going to have any reaction, have a super negative reaction. You do things with the best of intentions and people don't take them the wrong way and you feel dreadful. People write nasty comments on your wall. People don't like your opinions and your values. That's every day in business. It's just that in a crisis, it's all heightened and people are more sensitive and there's kind of more opportunity to make mistakes. But the same approach still applies, you know. Does what you're doing feel right to you, or is it giving you the icks? Does it fit with your personal morals and your brand values? If it does, it's good. Now, I hate to use the buzzword authentic, but I believe it applies. And Fran McKenzie wrote this on my wall, which I thought was really great. If you continue to be you authentically and commentary, and any commentary you share sounds like you and your voice, and you are sharing information that's helpful for the current situation and mood, you will be okay. I think that's true. You know, be your authentic self. And even if you do make a faux pas and you do upset people, you know, most people are satisfied with an apology. Most people will understand that you never meant to offend anybody. And those that don't, those that take it to the nth degree and send you nasty personal messages or send you emails or write nasty comments, just try and be empathetic to them. Just try and think, what must their mindset be like that they think that's an appropriate way to behave online? You know, have empathy for them. Maybe don't interact, just ignore and move on. You know, move on and focus on more important things like adopting a koala or helping, you know, your local fire service. So, you know, there'll be some that will say that even me doing this Facebook Live and writing a blog post is me trying to benefit from this crisis for my own personal gain. But I know that I've done it out of a desire to help. You know, I'm not the great I am, but I have had a lot of ups and downs in my business and a lot of negativity my way for so many different reasons. And I thought that these points might help you. So if you have any comments or thoughts that you would like to share, please drop them below in the comments. I'd love to read them. And I do believe that your comments help other people feel better about their situation. So feel free to share. And yeah, sending positive vibes out to anybody who's in a terrible situation at the moment. And, you know, continue to donate, continue to share links, and hopefully we will get to a better place. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you soon. Bye.